Hey guys, welcome back to Roots Refuge Farm. I just did something different than I've done over the last handful of years. I planted a different kind of long bean. So I've planted red and green noodle beans on an arch trellis since I've started this YouTube channel. And this year I just decided to mix it up. So I did Thai soldier beans, which are something I've done in the past aside from the noodle beans, and I'm doing them instead of the noodle beans. So weird. Like, naturally, as just a person who likes to mix things up, I would have absolutely no problem just being like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that this year. But I feel like a commitment to you guys when I do things the same every year. I feel like you expect it. What's up with that, right? Why in the world do we obligate ourselves to other people and things that ultimately really don't matter at all? I don't know. Deep thoughts with Jess as she plants Thai soldier beans instead of noodle beans. I like noodle beans, but Thai soldier beans are kind of the similar thing. They're both an Asian bean. They're kind of squeaky, and maybe a weird adjective, but if you've eaten them, you know what I mean. Like, you don't necessarily want to boil them. If you can them, it's more like in a pickling sense rather than canning them to later cook like green beans. And if you stir fry them, both of them, the Thai soldier beans and the noodle beans, or any like asparagus beans or long beans or any of those beans that are kind of given to Asian cooking, they have this like squeaky texture to them, like when you bite them, they squeak. And I just don't really need 2 trellises worth of squeaky beans in my life. So I like them. I like to stir fry them with some like good oil and garlic. 1 trellis is enough. So Thai soldier beans it is. Here's to change with no obligation. Also, I should note, Thai soldier beans are sold, and the information on the seed package, I have some from Baker Creek. I don't know where else they sell them, but the information I've seen calls them bush beans. In my experience, I planted them expecting bush beans, and they claimed all the way up a mammoth sunflower, which was like 18 feet tall or something like that. So I think they may be bush beans with some runners, but I put them at the bottom of a trellis so that they could do their thing. I don't know if they'll completely cover the trellis, but I think that they will run somewhat up the trellis. So that's what I'm doing. Look at this beautiful sight. So I have a lot of space this year, and I've been sharing with you guys a little bit of my struggle in figuring out how to fill up that space in a way that I can sustainably use most of. I do not anticipate using all of the food that I grow in this garden this year. It's entirely too much food to be used by one family. But we have people who work here with us, local friends, neighbors that we'll be able to share with, that like we share the love as far as the food goes. Even still, you have to consider the amount of time that goes into harvesting and preparing and preserving anything that you're gonna put in your garden. So what I'm doing with a little bit of space this year is trying some new things that I've never done before. And one of the things I'm growing is bitter melon. And I've never actually grown a true bitter melon before. It is very popular, again, in Asian cuisine, specifically Japanese cuisine. And this will be completely a learning experience for me. My cousin Josh, which I think Josh did a video with me like a million years ago, but he's very into Asian cooking and also gardens, and he specifically grows things like bitter melon that he can use in his cooking. And I remember discussing it with him and realizing I've never grown that before. Even still, I haven't. So I've been Googling a lot of recipes, and I've worked myself into the place that I am going to actually put some bitter melon seeds in the ground on a trellis. As a southern gardener, I really should be leaning into Asian growing as well as cooking, because a lot of the things that are used very commonly in Asian cuisine grow well in hot and humid climates. Check out these seeds. Pretty cool, huh? Really neat looking. I've never done this. It's a first for me. This is called Ganju bitter melon, like a green medium-sized melon. And when I looked up recipes, I saw a lot that were like sauteed with eggs or sauteed in stir fries, multiple different ways of preparing, and we're gonna try it. So I really think that if you are going to be planting a garden, you should first and foremost plant the things that you know that you're going to eat. Like, look at what you're actively buying from the grocery store. If you're buying those little blister packs of tomatoes, grow cherry tomatoes. If you're buying jalapeno peppers, grow jalapeno peppers. Very easy to get carried away in the pages of a seed catalog and fancy yourself the kind of eater that you're not actually. Oh dang, we got a nasty anthill here. We'll come back to talking about this. I think there's a very fine line between being honest with yourself about what you will actually do, and then also like maybe pushing yourself to do things that are a little out of your comfort zone, and only you can really know how much of that you can actually do. For instance, sometimes I plant things like this, like bitter melon, because I want to try new things. I want to learn, I want to experiment, I want to grow. And by growing something that I've never really eaten much of before or grown much of before, I know that it's going to push me. That's how I learned to like radishes. It's how I've learned to like a lot of the things that grow in the garden. I'd never eaten a rutabaga before I grew them. A lot of the things that I really enjoy now came because I decided to push myself out of my comfort zone and out of what I already knew, to just grow something new and grow as a gardener and as a home cook. But I also have to be honest with myself about how much of certain things that I really want to eat, and really think about the fact that like I like beets, but I don't like love beets. And so while I've planted lots of beets, honestly several of them have gone to the pigs because I just don't end up eating them nearly as much as I hope I will. And as a person who gets insanely inspired in the pages of Seed Catalog and who just decides that they can grow absolutely everything, let me be the first to tell you, you can't, I can't, we can't. It is really good to know what you'll eat first. Grow that first, because that's what's going to actually fuel you. If you grow a garden full of like bitter melons and tomatoes you don't like and beets you don't like and things that you won't actually eat, then you are probably going to be more prone to giving up. But if you grow things that you know you will use, that will actually offset your grocery bill, and then leave a little space for pushing yourself and growing, I just think that's the most sustainable approach. Oh, one more thought, and then we'll talk about ants. I just ordered some seeds last night. I got an email, and Botanical Interests is having a 40% off seed sale, which is a really good deal. I'll put a link to them down below. I do have an affiliate link with them. They have really great seeds, and obviously I can't show you right now what I ordered, but I actually went ahead and grabbed several flower seeds, some more sweet pea seeds. I am going to save seeds from some of the ones that I have already growing, but I wanted to get some more colors because I've enjoyed those so much, as well as some other flowers and some winter crops, because I know it's only May right now. We're only a couple months away from thinking about what we're going to be growing in our fall garden. I know that's like against the rules to talk about, because it's like, what? We're just barely getting the spring garden in. That is how fast it goes though. And if you could buy the seeds for $1 to $2 a pack versus $3 to $4 a pack, I mean, I think that's a good deal. So anyway, link down below. Let's talk about ants. This is not sponsored whatsoever. I buy this product at the Home Depot or Walmart or Amazon. I think I ordered these on Amazon. I do not think that this is certified organic. I'll be completely frank with you. Ants are the one area that I am not doing things in a like purely organic fashion. Now, I don't buy purely organic seeds. If you are actually a certified organic grower, if you are paying for the government to call you organic, you have to buy organic seeds. You have to go through a lot of things that I don't go through. I'm not selling my produce. That doesn't matter to me. I grow it in such a way that I feel good about eating it. I'm actually moving this little ant house over here. You can kind of see some of that stuff coming out, and they'll start swarming it. This is called taro. I'll put a link to where I got it on Amazon, but you could find it at like your local, like Walmart or Home Depot or just wherever you go to the store. All right, they're swarming this, which is good. They're gonna get all of that gel stuff that's kind of leaking out. This one was sitting in another place. I actually opened it like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I tout the praises of organic gardening. Taro, I do not think that it is certified organic, as I said, but it is a natural product, which is basically boric acid in a suspension of like sugar water. And basically those outdoor houses have these little cups that you put on these containers, and so they're not like open to bees coming to eat from. They're specifically created for ants to go in. Jeremiah is very, very allergic to ants. As in, if he steps in an ant pile, he is not going to get shoes on his feet for the next 48 hours. He swells so badly. And a couple of my kids actually have just as extreme reactions. It is the only thing that I actively put something like that out for. I don't even mind the wasps. They really do not even bother me. But we do put those taro ant traps out. And what it is the ants come and they eat that boric acid and they take it back into their colony and it kills them. I did do some reading years ago when I first found that product, because it started, the first way they sold it was like in this like really sticky little gel that you put on these cards, and you use it in the house. And I've used it in the house. We used to have ants really bad in a house we lived in Arkansas. Because I do talk so much about organic gardening, I'm trying to clarify that I can't say for sure that that's what that is, just so that I'm not misleading anybody. But when people ask me, what are you doing about ants? What are you doing about ants? Here in South Carolina, we really don't have fire ants, at least not on our property. I'm sure there are fire ants somewhere in South Carolina. In Arkansas, we had fire ants really badly, and even those black ants can light you up if they get a hold of you, if you like step in an ant pile. And on a farm, they're everywhere. We have ant piles all over the place, and mostly I do not mess with them unless they are in like an area we're actively like reaching into, walking on, and I will put those taro outdoor ant houses nearby one of those, and within about 2 days of that thing sitting there, the ants will be gone. There are some other tricks. You can put diatomaceous earth on an ant pile. You can, I've seen people say cinnamon, I've seen people say cornmeal. I have done the trick where you take a scoop out of one ant pile, you put it on another ant pile, take a scoop out of that ant pile, put it on the other one, and it causes them to all leave. And if you have a small garden and you're just trying to like chase them out of that space, that actually does work. They will leave. The problem is I have a really big garden, and so they just go from one part of the garden to another part of the garden. Ants are just the one thing that I have yet to figure out a way that we can live with the very serious allergic reactions that we have. I mean, nobody's like anaphylactic or anything, but it's pretty bad. It doesn't bother me. Somebody asked me recently, they're like, with those sandals you wear in the garden all the time, I can't believe you're not covered in ant bites. I am covered in ant bites. I just don't swell. Anything that bites me, it maybe hurts for a minute, but for the most part, it doesn't really bother me. So I put those little bait houses out for the sake of Jeremiah and the kids. And I figured I'd tell you guys about them. And you know, maybe you don't have a need for something like that, but if you're in a position like us where you really need something to make your garden like a safe place to be, I feel like that's the best. It's at least you're not like broadcasting poison all over the place, and you're not putting out something that could potentially really damage the bees or something. I feel okay about it. I've made my peace with it. Isn't this pretty? I need to get my plants in here. I haven't got what I want to put in here yet, and I want to do some roses because I think a bed of roses would just be darling. I feel like just everything is blooming. I can hardly handle it. What do y'all think about this? I'm pretty excited about it. I put all of these hidden chick succulents in here. I need to water them. It's starting to dry out on top. But I figured that this will fill up really cool on this side. And I just planted some Cosmos seeds in there. They're annual. These will actually be perennial, but I figured it'd be tall and pretty and cool looking all together. Some of my pitcher plants that I'm hoping will carnivorously help with pests. Look at this. These are my little cheapo Walmart roses. Y'all remember when I picked these up on clearance for like $4? Worth it, don't you think? And here, more hen and chick, thyme, and dahlias, which are getting really close to blooming. Oh, I'm loving this time of year. I really only came down here because I found an envelope that had those bitter melon seeds and the Thai soldier bean seeds. I had set those aside, planning on planting them, and they'd gotten tucked away on a bookshelf. I actually pulled a cookbook down and found them. Welcome to the order of my mind. I'm actually about to head back in because tomorrow's Asher's birthday, and I was actually in the middle of cooking his birthday dinner because he has friends coming over tonight to celebrate his 16th birthday, and I took a little cooking break to plant some seeds because I saw them and I thought if I don't do this right now, I might forget. And the soil is still gloriously damp from the entire week of rain we've had. So I figured I'd go ahead and stick them in the soil and then head back in to making Asher's birthday dinner. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today on this brief jaunt down to the garden. I always love bringing you with me. I bless you. Until next time.